the Ambazonia, special loyalty. Praise to our Savior who granted us the freedom. And left us to the hero who brought the lonely gather.
Glory will rise and never to fall. Hearing a nation flowing with milk and honey. Glory, glory, glory to the Father for making you a nation, a joy forevermore. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our needs. And your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God be the watchman of this nation. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our needs. And your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God be the watchman of this nation.
Good afternoon. My name is Fru Nkimben. I am the host of African Hour here at LTC in Lowell. Tonight, I have a very special and distinguished guest, people who have been following the crisis in Cameroon, and they have looked at the pictures, and sometimes I could see visibly that they are moved by the picture and sometimes traumatized by seeing just what is happening in southern Cameroon. To my immediate left is the Executive Director of Lowell Telecommunication, Mrs. Wendy Bloom. She's been very passionate about the situation in southern Cameroon, and sometimes I just feel when she sees the pictures, at some point she was moved, or I could see that she was very shaken. And to her left is Mr. Dan Toomey, my friend a long time. He's the state rep for New Hampshire. Dan and I, we come a long way, and when the struggle started, Dan was the one who pushed me to start doing the video, and I remember I was doing editing in his house right late till 11 midnight p.m. So thank you very much for your compassion and for your humanity and reaching out across the ocean to feel the pains of people who are thousands of miles away. And I don't even know if you will ever meet them, but we know even if you don't meet them, you have met them in spirit, and thank you so very much. I would like to, for us to spend just 1 minute of silence to honor the brave people who have been killed, those who are in the hospitals, those who are languishing in the forest, and the refugees in Nigeria. Thank you very much again, and I would like to thank the job that you do here for these people who are languishing in the forests and refugees and those who are suffering in the hospital. When I mentioned that I was going to do this interview, the people on ground zero, and particularly in Bamenda, Wendy, they are very fond of you. You welcome our leader, and it's you that opened the doors of Lowell Telecommunication and have the first interview here that was watched by hundreds of thousands of people around the world. And that really put not only LTC on the map, but it also put Lowell on the map. So, and with that note, they asked me to ask each of you this question. Could you please tell the people of Bamenda and the southern Cameroon why you care so much for them that you do what you do to highlight their sufferings to the world?
Okay. Well, it was such a pleasure for me to meet you and to get to know you, Fru, and to learn about Southern Cameroon. I really knew nothing, and I think that a lot of Americans really know nothing about that part of Africa. And the reason I care so much is that I see your commitment to your people, and it just really strikes a chord with me because everyone has the right to live free in their country. And when I learned about how all of this came to pass, it seemed so unfair. And I just could not believe what one part of the country was doing to the other. There's no reason for such violence and such cruelty anywhere in the world. And then you brought the most amazing national leaders here to Lowell, and we did TV shows at LTC, and I was so impressed with their humanity and their intelligence and their ability to articulate the plight of the people in Southern Cameroon. And so that's why I feel so passionate about this issue and hope to get the word out to the world about how something needs to change.
And thank you, and you certainly reach people in the four corners of the world, and most particularly in Ambazonia. They always said, oh, that executive director, we wish she is really our savior. And I just want you to know that people on Ground Zero are very appreciative.
Well, that makes me feel very humble because they are so amazing.
Okay. Then we've gone all the way for almost close to 20 years now. Yep. And you are more or less like a part of my family. And when this crisis started in 2017, when President Biya declared war on the English-speaking Cameroon, I brought some of the image. You said, Fru, we need to do something. Yeah. And you didn't just say it, but you were committed. And you invited
Let me tell you a little bit why, and a little bit about where we are, because people all throughout the world are watching us. We're in Lowell, Massachusetts, which is in the northeast portion of the United States. And I'm from New Hampshire, which is right across the border, and I'm a state legislator in New Hampshire. And I've worked in Lowell for 20 years. I'm working part-time in Lowell now. But I first worked at the university, and that's when I first became familiar with the Cameroonian community here in Lowell. We've got a really diverse African community here in Lowell. As a matter of fact, Lowell has an African festival every year, which is big and good. And as a matter of fact, we televise it every year. So anyway, I remember the Cameroonian kids, and they're probably not kids anymore. They probably have their own kids. When they came to the university at the center that I worked at, and we had a kind of a international festival with kids. Lowell's a very diverse community, so we had kids from all over the world, and the Cameroonian kids came, and they were in African costumes, and they did a dance routine, which was really great. We videoed that, by the way. So anyway, so when I after working at the university, I came to work here at the community video center, and became involved in the African festival. And I met Africans from not only Cameroon then, but from Nigeria, Zimbabwe,
Ghana.
Ghana? Yeah, Ghana. Oh, you name it. We've got this 53 African countries.
Yep. Yes, you're right.
And we got to have 30 or 40 representative of 30 or 40 of those countries here in Lowell, or in the Lowell area. So we've become family with the African community here in Lowell, and you put on an hourly show once a week here called the African Hour. So because, we watch those things, and the community here in Lowell watches those things, we know about what's going on over there. And it's really distressing to hear, the strife that's taken place in southern Cameroon. And it shouldn't be happening. It's got to stop. And, I will do everything I can to get the word out. And in here in Massachusetts, where we are now, and in New Hampshire as well. So I hope that will help a little bit.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I mean, hearing that, me already knowing the work that you do, it's not new to me. It's not strange. For my people on Ground Zero listening to you speak, they will really be encouraged and know that they have hope. But let me take this, I will take just a few minutes just to update my viewers and audience who are non-Cameroonians as to the root cause of this crisis in Cameroon. Actually, the root cause of the crisis in Cameroon, like many other African countries, started in Berlin in 1885 with the partition of Africa, whereby a bunch of European nations sat in Berlin and got a pen and a paper and sliced the whole map of Africa into territories and dividing families and people apart. And then from that moment, Cameroon and Togoland and Namibia and Tanzania and I believe Burundi were territories that were given to the Germans. So when Germany was defeated after the First World War at the Treaty of Versailles in 1919, Germany lost all its territories in Africa and around the world. That was a punishment that was given to Germany. And in that, Cameroon now became a trusteeship of the British and the French. The Treaty of Versailles led to the League of Nations, which the League of Nations led to what we have today as the United Nations. So Cameroon, being one country under the Germans, was split into two, the French and the English, under the trusteeship of the UN. So that is how the journey of Cameroon evolved, having the English side and also the French Cameroon. But in the early 50s, the part of Cameroon that was administered by the British had autonomy, self-autonomy, self-rule. They governed themselves and they followed the democratic system in the West and also in Africa. And we were the first democratically autonomous country to govern themselves in Africa. And from 1953 right up to 1961, Southern Cameroon had 3 successive governments, peaceful. That wasn't the case on the other side of Cameroon under the French administration. They lived through dictatorship, which is typical of the French system, and till today, it's been only a one-party rule since 1960, when the French got its independence. So in 1960, 1st January 1960, the French part of Cameroon got its independence, and the name was Republic of Cameroon, La République du Cameroun in French. Then in 1st of October 1961, the English part of Cameroon was supposed to have its own independence. Actually, the United States and 63 other countries at the UN voted for us to have our independence. I say us because I come from the English part of Cameroon. So, but unfortunately, that option was not at the table. There were only 2 options, whether either we have our independence by joining the Republic of Nigeria, which was also an English country that was administered by the British, and the English Cameroon was also administered by the British. But English Cameroon had had a very bad experience with Nigeria, so they walked out of the Nigerian Assembly in Enugu and came and settled and formed their own autonomy, have international boundaries. Then, but there were only these two options. The northern part of English Cameroon voted to join Nigeria. So that part of northern Cameroon is part of Nigeria. The southern part of English Cameroon, which is the English Cameroon today called the Republic of Ambazonia, voted to join French Cameroon, which was East Cameroon, and then the English part was West Cameroon. And the clause, the terms were that under no circumstances shall the name be changed. And then the name of the country was the Federal Republic of Cameroon, with the two states. And then the flag symbolizes that. That's green, red, yellow with two stars, two equal stars, one star representing French Cameroon, the other star representing English Cameroon. So in 1961, they formed that Federal Republic of Cameroon. The English Cameroon is 20% of the population, that's about 9 million, and then the French Cameroon is 80%, and also in landmass. But fate dealt us a blow that the French, a few years into the Federation, they discovered a lot of riches, natural wealth, minerals and oil in the English side of Cameroon, and we have a natural seaport. So the French part of Cameroon, since the president was from there, he organized a referendum to change the country to the United Republic of Cameroon. 20% with 80%, the result was obvious. With their size and numbers, they had to change the name of the country by actually seceding the previous agreement. So from there, Cameroon was not existing anymore, because then the current president in 1984, he unilaterally changed the name of the country from the United Republic of Cameroon. At least United showed that there are two states. He changed the name of the country to Republic of Cameroon. You remember the French Cameroon name at independence was Republic of Cameroon. So he has completely assimilated and also, I would say, swallowed English Cameroon. Last year, at an international conference in France, he lamented and came on the air and said that his intention all these years was to assimilate the English Cameroon, and so that they can lose their identity. And one important thing that needs to be understood is that when they changed the name to United Republic of Cameroon, the treasury, all the resources were taken over by the French. They were employing their, sending their teachers to the English side to teach French, sending their government officials to administer French system of government. So all this has been going on for almost 50 years. Then in 2016, the English Cameroon stood up and said, no, we were an independent country before we came together. You cannot, we want us to maintain the federal system. Then the response was on November 30th, 2017, Mr. Biya, as a bully, he moved his troops and declared war on the peaceful people of English Cameroon. And he has killed, burned hospital, burned over 200 villages, burned people alive, and just the death toll is immeasurable. Almost around 200,000 have fled to the bushes and are refugees. So I thought I should just bring up that history, so that when once those who don't know this history should know where we are coming from. Thank you very much for that. I hope it was not too long.
No, that was very well said.
Thank you. Let me proceed with the questions that were sent to me from by Ambazonians out of the country and those in Cameroon. What do you think Ambazonians in the diaspora should do to sensitize non-Ambazonians like you and those out there, not only in America but around the world, about the war that is killing and destroying so much properties, lives, and livestock?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious that you, Fru, set a great model for how people should approach the problem of people not understanding and realizing what's going on by reaching out within your American community. So you're not just talking to yourselves, but you're getting on TV shows, your own show here, but also other people's shows. You're going to city council and making sure that the city councilors know what's going on, and they've been able to pass some resolutions in support of Southern Cameroon. It's so important for you to just keep speaking and telling people, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, and people will say, what can I do? And if America puts pressure on the United Nations to say this is not fair, our people in America are very concerned about this, maybe there'll be some changes. But people need to speak out in their adopted countries.
Oh, thank you very much, Wendy. I hope my brothers and sisters in the diaspora, when I mean the diaspora, not only in America, around the world, I hope you are listening, so that it's a patient who goes to see the doctor. And as former Mayor Rita Mercier said at the other interview, that it is the squeaky wheels that gets the oil. So we are known, when I say we, I mean Southern Cameroonians, are talking to ourselves. We already know what the history is and what our people are dying. We need to get out of our comfort zone and actually talk to people who are non-Ambazonian. Dan, I'd like to come to you because as a politician, you once told me a story when you were running that you reached out and you actually engaged the Indians, Americans in your district, and they came to know you, and then they supported you.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that those are the lessons that I am learning, and I ask you then, as a state rep, if I call you to come and talk to you about Ambazonia, how would you react?
Yeah.
I would say, Fru, you told me that, Fru, I mean, you have to demonstrate that you are involved in your local community, that you are civically engaged, and that you are involved in politics. Because as I heard from you, that politics is a game of you scratch my back and I scratch your back.
Well, I don't know. Politics in New Hampshire is knocking on doors. You know, it's one of the smaller states in the United States. So I knocked on a lot of doors. As a matter of fact, I knocked on a couple of doors where I met African people and asked them for their vote. And as you said, we got a big Indian population in Nashua. And so I knocked on plenty of doors there and talked to them. A lot of them favored my party over the other party. And obviously I won. But you know, we can get the story out to New Hampshire as well. You know, they have community television, and they're willing to put interesting shows on. So that would be good, too, to bring it across the border to New Hampshire and let the people in New Hampshire know about it. So I'd be happy to do that. And so, yeah, I don't like what I'm hearing about what's going on over there. You know, it's obviously unfair. It's obviously a grab for resources, you know, and people can be pretty ruthless when they want what you have, and so something has to intervene and stop that.
Thank you very much. I remember on many occasions you have told me that you would like me to come to the State House with you,
Yeah.
and that you introduced me to the politicians over there, and more so to Senator Jean Chihane, and also Senator, there are two senators up in New Hampshire. You said that you'll be willing to introduce me there. But I would like also to say this is really painful to me, because mostly Africans, we sit and blame the Europeans for doing this to us, but this is not a European country that is doing this. This is brother killing brother.
Yeah.
Yesterday, this was one country, but all of a sudden, the president of the country decides now to be killing his cousins and nephews, just simply because they stood up to advocate for their rights, peacefully advocating. So it is a shame that I, as an African, and when I talk about Cameroon, I feel very, very bad, because some people will always blame the Europeans for being the cause of Africa's problem. But this is Africa killing Africans. These are Cameroonians killing Cameroonians. These are brothers killing brothers. So it is very, I am very, it is a tragedy. And when I see both of you getting involved with people that you never knew, you don't even plan to go there, it's of no benefit to you, but you are sacrificing your time to bring our pain to the international community, so that someone looking at you can also get involved and do something to bring freedom to my people. The injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere.
Well, I would say that our field of public access television, the mission is to allow people to get their word out in ways that they wouldn't be able to otherwise. And the mission is very, very dear to my heart. And I think that Southern Cameroon really exemplifies the need for public access TV, because how else would you get your word out in such a broad way? So we can thank public access TV here in America for allowing us to do this.
Thank you very much, Wendy. Not only public access, but it depends the individual.
Yeah.
Action speaks louder than words. You have opened these doors to our leaders. Where we are sitting, President Sisiko Ayok Tabe sat right here because you wanted that to happen. When Professor Anyangwe came from South Africa, and lawyer So came from Cameroon, you opened the doors and actually had an interview here. When Professor Patrick Ngana was released from jail in Cameroon, you opened the doors and had me interviewed them here. So actions speak louder than words. And on that note, I have a question here. You met the interim president who finally was kidnapped in Nigeria, transported to Cameroon in a cargo plane. I don't know their ordeal. I can just imagine. And they were on the ground for almost 1 year. They are still in jail. And then you actually were the camera person who took the pictures at the city hall.
Yep.
So, I mean, imagine that a state rep and the executive director of a local TV station are doing this for Ambazonian. That is a commitment.
Yeah,
so,
speaking of City Hall, you got to bring this up, because Lowell, which is the 4th largest city in Massachusetts, is the sister
city to Bamenda.
Yes, and so I think that should be mentioned. you know,
Yes.
and that happened because that was brought to the city council in Lowell, and that was voted on by the city council in Lowell, and now it exists. So I think that needs to be said because we're talking to people all over the world, and I think they should know that.
That's very, very true. And I would also give credit to Lowell Telecommunication because Lowell Telecommunication on 2 occasions interviewed His Royal Highness King Angwafo III of Mancon. That's my grand uncle. I brought him here, and he was interviewed here twice. The City Hall received him. That's the first traditional ruler to have addressed the City Council on 2 occasions, and he was also made an honorary member of the City Council. So there is really that strong connection between Lowell and the Southern Cameroon because we have a sister city relationship between Bamenda, dated November 5th, 2002. So, I mean, it comes, that's the main reason why the people of Bamenda really look on the leaders of Lowell are their major defenders for freedom. We talked about our leaders in jail. I have a question here. Our leaders in jail send you greetings and thank you for advocating for their release and asked that you should use your power to rally the good people of America and also to engage the government to put pressure on Mr. Biya. Mr. Biya is the president of French Cameroon who waged the war to end the killings of innocent Southern Cameroonians. Please, could you look at the camera because they will be watching in Cameroon. If you have any message to our leaders whom you met here, if you have any message to them, this is a moment just to speak to them where I think they will be very glad to hear from you.
Yeah. A lot of great men have spent time in jail for their people and for freedom and for dignity. And in the United States, we have Martin Luther King, that we have a holiday memorializing Martin Luther King, and partly because of the fact that he spent some time in jail to bring race relations to the improved level that it's happened in the United States. So to the men that are in jail, they're all men?
Yes.
All men that are in jail, I just, you know, like to say that, you know, it may result in a good outcome, and we're hoping for that, you know, but they're doing the right thing. You know, they wouldn't be in jail if they weren't doing the right thing.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And for me, I would like to say that getting to know you in the people in prison just a little bit when you were here, you were so inspiring to me. Your bravery was amazing because you're all such accomplished people. You could have gone anywhere. You could have just lived your life in any country in the world. And you chose to fight for your country and your people and were willing to go back to Nigeria knowing the danger and be captured from there. And I just hope that you maintain your good spirits and hope and know that here in Lowell and in Massachusetts, we are thinking of you and working to get your message out to the world.
Thank you very much. I think we'll get a giggle out of this question. This actually came from Ground Zero in Bamenda. For me to ask both of you and extend an invitation to you that because for every crisis there will be an end. When there is rain, there will always come sunshine. And that when the Southern Cameroon has restored its independence and freedom, if they sent you an invitation to come to Southern Cameroon, would you honor their invitation to come to them, because they would really love to celebrate with you and thank you for what you have done?
Oh my gosh, I would absolutely love to go. That would be so great. Yes, I definitely will, and hopefully it will be soon.
I want to know how good the food is over there
I'm sure it's good.
before I go.
You already know African food through me.
That's true.
Okay, so I hope you are, let's keep hope alive, and the day will come when we will
Yeah.
celebrate.
Yeah.
One question here, I think you touched on this, but that the army, because really currently as we are speaking, as today, there's a total lockdown in Southern Cameroon, because there is a so-called parliamentary election going on now, because the government is becoming wiser and try always deceitful means to deceive the international community that the people are with them. So they are organizing a parliamentary election. And it should also be known that during the presidential election, this current president was never campaigned, never came over to the English side. There was no election, so he doesn't have that mandate to even talk to us anymore. So right now, there's a total shutdown. People are in their houses because since the current president was going to use this to placate, to tell the world that things are normal in English Cameroon. So villages were burnt, hospitals burnt, schools burnt, and you should know that for 3 years there have not been any schools in the English Cameroon. That is a travesty. For 3 years, that's a generation that we don't know after the war how things will become. So he actually is bringing people from the French side. Since the villages are burned, people are in the bushes, he's busing his own population, the military now as civilians. So he has organized it in such a way that he will take pictures that these are people from these areas that are voting and show the international community. I just want to highlight that the international community, when they see any images coming about voters, these are not Southern Cameroonians. These are people from the French side, from the present village that have invaded these areas to vote. I think we've really covered quite a lot, and I think the people in Bamenda and the people in Southern Cameroon are very, very happy for what you are doing. And I cannot end this conversation without asking you, what is your message to the people, to your fans out there in Southern Cameroon, and most importantly from Bamenda, because Bamenda is a sister city with Lowell. What closing remarks or words of wisdom that you would like to give them?
Okay, I'll make it short. Stay strong. Keep up the fight.
Thank you.
And in the long run, good will win out. I really believe that a country can't repress its population for long.
Okay, thank you very much. I think I would like to use this opportunity to thank the staff of Lowell Telecommunication for actually helping me and providing me a platform to be able to bring the pain of my people and bring it at a level, at an international level, because not everywhere you have this opportunity. I have wonderful people who have been so supportive to me, and the staff here at LTC is so gracious. And Wendy, my heart goes to you. I mean, you've done so much from the people in Southern Cameroon. And I would also take this opportunity to Dan, my friend, a long time and a politician, but you are always there and encouraging me and saying that anything that you can do, you would be able to do it. And I hope that the people in Bamenda and southern Cameroon know that there are people who are fighting for them, and those in jail should not give up hope. They should know that people are fighting for them. And I would like to thank the engineers behind the screen who are manning the camera. Steve Manick, thank you very much for your dedication. And Dan Kremet from our intern from UMass Lowell. And it is a wonderful opportunity for me, as the host of African Hour, to bring you to talk to our people. And I will also use this opportunity to address my brothers and sisters in the diaspora. Dan, I think you are the one who observed this. You watch a peaceful rally in front of the White House where we went there. You remark that there are no white people amongst your group. How can you be going to the White House? And where are the Americans? Where are your friends? To me, that touched me so much. And you also observe that you are there. Some people are laughing, some are lying. I mean, you don't take it serious. When your people are dying, how can you come in public and be demonstrating such a carelessness? And also, I would like also to call on the leaders to be able to unite, because unity is a strength. And we are very good at writing negative things against each other. And that kills my heart so much, because people like you who are offering your time to help us, if you read that, it will really discourage you that these are the people who should be fighting to unite and fighting for their freedom. But they are instead fighting amongst themselves, while the real enemy is killing their people. So thank you very much for all the advices that you have given me all this while. I'm doing this because I know that I have people who support me. And on that note, I'd like to say thank you, Lowell Telecommunication, and that long live the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, short live the struggle.
I agreed. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Long live Ambazonia.
Long live Ambazonia.
When shall I see my native land? I will never forget my Lord. Oh, my home. When shall I see my Lord? When shall I see my native land? I will never forget my Lord. never forget my home.